Welcome back to the series. In the previous video, we covered next/priv pagination with the previous and next button. And this one, we're going to cover this numeric pagination, which is basically showing the page numbers laid out using React Bootstrap pagination component. And from there, all the styling coming from. And pretty much what it does is if you keep page number 2, you see current page is 2, you get the number 2 data, you hit 4, get the 4 data, 5 gives you the page number 5 data. So now you know the functionality. Let's go to the code and see how it is done. Alright guys, we are back at the React code, and to handle this numeric pagination we're going to need these two components. One is numeric page, the other one is numeric pagination. The page is handling most of the work, and this component is actually providing us with this block right here, the actual pagination block. So let's start here. If you're following this series, you're already familiar with what I'm loading here. Most important thing here is this WP API, which is actually allowing us to do all sorts of data manipulation. And here I'm actually loading up the numeric pagination, which is this component. Now we're already familiar with this block here where we instantiate WP API to this WP object. We covered this before, and like the last time, these constants are pretty much the same. There's a post, there's a pending, is pending, which handles the loading spinner. And most important one is the current page and the total page. And this par page is the one that lets us control how many posts are gonna be displayed in one page. So for example, if I just change this to 8, save it. Now look what happened. Instead of 5, we're loading 8 per page. And because of that, our page number decreased. So let's put it back, 5, save, and now it drops back to 5 per page, but that also increases the number of pages. Okay, so now next comes our useEffect function. This time I'm putting the entire fetch post inside the useEffect because, like the last time, we actually needed to call this fetch post from other events like next button, previous button, etc. But in this case, all this is doing is loading up the page number 1. So we are initiating our current page with page number 1. So anytime we refresh, this function gets called once. It has no dependency, and it will just use WP posts per page. And we're going to use per page variable here and simply say .get. We will only get the first page data, and then it is done. And as usual, we're loading all the posts using setPost to this variable, posts. And we're loading up the total number of pages using setTotal into this total pages variable, but we're getting it from the fetch posts object paging total pages. If we go back and if we expand a little, we will see every time WP API, when it delivers us the data, it includes this _paging object, and underneath that we have the total number of all items and total pages. It is already calculated for us. So from there, we load up the total page number, and after everything's said and done, we set the isPending variable to false so that our loading spinner stops. And we put it through a try-catch blocks to, if there is any errors, it's going to catch it. And in the end, we finally call the fetch post function inside the useEffect so that whole thing actually gets in action. Next is the delete post. We're not going to go over that because we covered it before. Here comes the handle page change. This is the most important function in the whole program, but we're not going to cover this now. We'll come back to it a little bit later. So now let's look at return. As usual, it's wrapped with the page layout component, and immediately after, right here, it's our loading spinner. And then comes the post variable. We map through the whole variable, looping through it and getting all the data and display. Right here is the delete button, which calls the delete post function. And in the end, our most important component, numeric pagination, which is this guy right here. And it takes 3 props: total pages, current page, and on-page change. And on-page change is connected to handle page change. So now let's go see what's happening inside our numeric pagination. In here, besides React, we are loading the pagination object from React Bootstrap, and I'm loading up the Lodash library to do some calculations. And here's the main function, which is taking the aforementioned 3 props: current page, total page, and on-page change function. At the very beginning, we assign the total pages to this variable called pages count. And immediately after, we tell the program that if you see that page count is number 1, which means that if the current page is number 1, then just return null. Don't do anything, just stay there. Because when it's page number 1, we don't need to do anything. That's the default. And next comes the tricky part, the pages variable, where we use this _dot_range function from this Lodash library, and giving it a starting page number, which is number 1, and then we deliver it the total page number plus 1. As we know, in JavaScript, everything starts from 0, so just since we are using 1 here, we're just adding plus 1 to the page count. And the reason we're calling 1 here is because there is no page number 0, right? And just to show you the impact of this, let me do this console log, go back, and immediately look what it does. It's pretty much any number you give it, right? As a, like, if you tell it to start from 1, it starts from 1, and whatever total you give it, it's gonna create an array of those numbers sequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4. So pretty much in here, we just told it to, hey, run from number 1, and we gave it the total, and it gave us all the necessary page numbers, and we took those, initiated an items array, which is empty, and then we're going to map through that pages variable, and this time it's going to loop through 5 times, and each time we call this pagination item, which we called in from here React Bootstrap, and we will keep pushing that item to this empty array and fill this item array and return it right here inside a pagination component. And while we are loading them up, I'm using the page, the number of page as key because that's unique, and active is a boolean. This one decides whether or not that specific item gets highlighted or not, right? Each time the current page is equal to this page number that we supply, the active becomes true. And we see if we click number 4 getting highlighted, number 2 getting highlighted, it becomes active. And this is an annoying one. I don't know why they did it. Let's say if I put something in here, save it, look what it does. It just appends it to that current page for no reason at all. I don't know any use case that I can remember, and I tried disabling it, and look what it does. It just puts in the current by itself. So to shut this guy up, I just had to give it an empty string, and now I get my numbers back. I don't know why they would do that, but hey, if you can find a use for it, please let me know. I know I didn't. And here comes a little bit of styling, just a little bit of margin so that they look separated. For example, if I change this number to 20, go back, you saw it just increased the size by a little bit, and I think this looks better, so I'm going to keep this. And then comes this on-click event. In here, we're calling that on-page change prop, this function that we got from here, and inside it, as an argument, we're passing this page number. Now we can go back and see what this handle page change is doing, because now this guy will have this page number. So let's go back. So this is our function. We're getting that argument page number. It's coming in at the very beginning. We're setting the set pending to true so that our loading spinner starts going. And immediately afterwards, we take that page number and update our current page variable, this guy, current page. So once we get our current page updated, immediately after, I call this next page variable and call the WP library, which is the WP API object right here. And I just call in .posts and give it a par page, and this par page is this guy right here, which actually keeps our item per page in a certain number. And then I add .page to get a specific page number item, and I pass along the variable I got from here, which is the current page number. Let's say if I hit page number 2, this becomes 2, and I update the page number to 2, and this one I use to call my next set of data. Whatever the page number, if it's 5, this will be 5, and I'll get page number 5 data. So once we get that, I use set posts to update my post variable. And once this is said and done, I call is set pending again and turn the is pending variable to false so that our loading spinner stops. And thus we get our paging system, which is a numeric one. Quite lovely. And that will be all for this video. In the next video, we'll cover load more. If you like this video, please smash the like button, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash the like button and the subscribe button. This will help me bring more free contents like this to you every week. Thanks again.